After many hours of practice and preparation in the limited duration pre-release multiplayer network test 6 months ago, I'm finally able to continue living my perpetual fantasy of stomping around in a mech enjoying that classic Gundam magic of surprisingly slow lasers and heaving giant spike balls at people's faces. It's once again finally time for Gundam Evolution. Not much has changed in the nearly half a year since we last slid into the cozy cockpit of a metal behemoth and zipped around immune to the body-flattening G-forces of mech combat. Overwatch 2 has marched ever closer to reality despite the near-constant stream of bad news, and surprisingly, some people are excited for this non-sequel sequel. So you wouldn't think releasing another 6 vs 6 hero shooter into the world would be the best option. But when you mix in the ancient popularity of a franchise more than 40 years old and the guilt-free allure of a free-to-play game, plenty are happy to take the chance, including me. But it's not just Gundam Overwatch. Sure, it looks exactly like Overwatch and has the same visual format, and all of the game modes are copied almost exactly from Overwatch, and some of the Gundams have identical abilities to Overwatch characters. And yes, maybe they picked up the ultimate ability aspect and made a very similar ranking and matchmaking system, and even put familiar health pickups randomly around maps in a team-based game with healing abilities. But these health packs are clearly weird little ball things and not at all like Overwatch health packs. But there are some key differences that make Gundam Evolution just different enough to make me stop calling it Gundam Overwatch most of the time. The most significant difference is that this team-based hero shooter doesn't really feel that team-based. While there is one unit that could be classified as support, and it even latches on for a constant stream of heals just like Mercy, and a few mechs that have self-servicing shields, pretty much every Gundam is a slightly different way to blow things up. Teamwork is still the best way to see that victory scream, but it's usually made a reality by standing around enemies in a circle and kicking them in the face for an advantage rather than benefiting from the abilities of other units. That's only part of the distinction though. Gundam Evolution also gives every unit at least one dash ability, so even the slowest, meatiest mech on the block can suddenly roll up on you nose to nose and lay a soft, intimate laser shotgun blast on your lips, leaving a lasting impression. This is also the primary tactic for the melee units in the game that thankfully no one ever considered balancing. Your only hope for avoiding them is to use your own dash powers to get the fuck out of there and hope that you can shoot them before they chop you into a fine mist of Gundam parts to be boxed up and sold at your nearest hobby store. Luckily though, if you do get your ass kicked, you might not be dead. Gundam Evolution has a disabled status where your limp Gundam body just chills out until the respawn timer strikes or an ally comes up and gives you a robotic metal gauntlet massage that brings you back to life. Assuming your enemies don't finish you off, this can quickly turn what seemed to be a lost encounter into a 2-on-1 revenge massacre. Another place where Gundam is a bit less like Overwatch is in the map design. Not just the part where every map is a series of random boxes that immediately make you forget you're a 60-foot-tall monstrosity, but the designs don't quite focus on spamming back and forth at one choke point and usually have multiple routes and back doors to objectives. But there's one aspect of Gundam Evolution and Overwatch that bonds them together like ancient twins separated at birth but somehow still having the same traits when they grow up: cosmetics. Gundam Evolution delivers that same classic loot crate spirit, but this time you can see your chances for any specific item it contains and how incredibly unlikely it is for you to get anything good. There are also 3 other types of loot crates, each with their own item tables that you can buy with premium currency or the in-game currency. But don't waste that precious in-game currency, because even if you buy the requisite battle pass, you only get enough to unlock one whole additional unit. And that's only if you lock in your dedication by logging in and completing this weeks-long set of beginner quests. Gundam Evolution, softening the blow of Overwatch 2 by showing us that Blizzard isn't the only company that wants to rip us off. It's strange to have a game that's so fun to play yet somehow still missing the mark in so many ways. Gundam Evolution provides a faster-paced, more shooter-focused experience than Overwatch and forgoes the complexities of the strategic layers that are usually within team hero shooters. But in doing that, it exposes a desperate need for precise balance that it doesn't really have. The game is full of instant kills and maps that drastically favor some units over others. Melee units will sometimes kick your ass all the way off and dance on it, but they can be soft-countered by the undeniably effective tactic of running away or picking a turn of Gundam to judo flip their asses into submission. But that just solves the problem of numerous stuns and instant deaths with another stun maneuver. Winning or losing is usually achieved via steamroll, since picking off players creates long respawns given the added window for reviving disabled units, so it's usually easy to see when a win or a loss is coming. While matchmaking has slowly been improved through several long maintenance sessions, it also added a longer wait time for more skill-balanced matches. Yet they haven't done anything to address the issue of having units behind a paywall in a game that's presented to be highly competitive. You can play all you want, but the in-game currency isn't rewarded for play, so the only way to get a good sense of the units is to fork out the cash. The joy of battling it out in cool mechs has kept me playing thus far, but when you combine these issues with the insane chat censorship you can't turn off and a collection of some of the most boring cosmetics that feature things like going from gray to a slightly different gray, it's tough to keep coming back. For those reasons, I'm giving Gundam Evolution the abbreviated score of OK. If you'd like to see more hot takes, warm satire, and tepid commentary about video games, make sure to subscribe and check out my other abbreviated reviews.